Medikabazaar and CNBC-TV18 present Transforming Healthcare.
The Indian healthcare industry has been growing at a lightning speed for the last 2 decades, attracting foreign direct investment to the tune of 26.9 billion US dollars as per government reports. But the COVID-19 pandemic has brought into sharp focus the inadequacies and the pitfalls that plague India's healthcare system. At the same time, the pandemic has also opened up opportunities for digital interventions that can dramatically alter the healthcare landscape in the near future. Hello and welcome to part 2 of our special series Medikabazaar and CNBC-TV18 present Transforming Healthcare. I'm Medikabazaar. In today's episode, we shine the light on the fragmented state of the pharma and medical supply chain in India, the need for modernization, and the impact cutting-edge tech solutions are creating in building robust and resilient healthcare supply chains.
Healthcare comprising of hospitals, medical devices, clinical trials, telemedicine, health insurance, and medical equipment has become one of India's largest sectors, both in terms of revenue and employment. But despite the increased penetration, the second wave of the pandemic exposed the delicate nature of the healthcare supply chain that made it difficult for people to access critical medical supplies. The factors that contributed to the breakdown of the health system include limited supply chain visibility, lack of coordination of sourcing and resource allocation, limited buffer capacity to quickly ramp up supply.
Indian healthcare industry has been developing quite well, but during the COVID period, I think all of us have seen the lacunae which we have in the Indian healthcare system also, especially if you talk about supply chain. This particular COVID has shown what is the structural problems which we have in healthcare system, mainly pertaining to the resilience issues which are there in the supply chain, and also the cost management issues which are there, and also the lack of visibility. All of them have come to a surface now during COVID times. Currently, the Indian healthcare supply chain is in a manner where there are distributors in between, and there are not one distributor, and then there are vendors across. What happens for a hospital in any stage, whether it's a large multiple hospital chain or a single hospital, today they will have some 100, 200, 300 odd vendors which each person will be dealing with it. You don't have a fixed structure in place. So what it leads to is it leads to a lot of confusions. We don't know which is the best brand available. It leads to a confusion on terms of quality. It leads to in terms of confusion on cost. We don't know what the cost is. And definitely a supply, lead time, delay in supplying, all those becomes an issue when the supply chain structure is fragmented.
Singular impact of a broken supply chain is a mismatch of expectation that a patient has in terms of getting the right level of care, and also in terms of the evolution of the healthcare towards a more value-based system. A value-based system is somewhere which is a function of output as a function of per unit cost and not cost alone. A great example is during the first wave of the pandemic, where a lot of the healthcare, the supply chain elements were initially not tested, but it became robust as the pandemic found its way. And today we are in a much better position as the wave 3 is looming ahead of us.
The oxygen crisis during the second wave has come as an important reminder to the healthcare industry to modernize the fragmented and complex medical supply chains so that hospitals can focus on patient care instead of procurement and inventory management.
Hospital industry has grown into a very complex industry now. Earlier there used to be doctor, nurse or paramedic staff, but these days the industry is driven largely through the technology. So there is a lot of application of medical equipment besides vast range of pharmaceutical. Now in that situation, if the hospital has to manage the inventory, it will be focusing too much time on this activity, which is actually a non-core activity. For hospital, what is the core activity? Core activity is to treat the patient, take care of the patient. But so much time actually is invested or wasted, I will say, in procurement and maintaining the supply chain. So therefore it is very important that we should have independent supply chain companies in our India which can source the equipment economically, keep it in their storage and supply to the hospital as and when required. This is one aspect. Second aspect is the kind of variety now which we have got, vast range of equipment, devices, components, and then range of the drugs, pharmacy. You know, if you have to maintain all that thing in one place, it will be going to be very uneconomical, and in any case we do not have that much space in the hospital. So if you have heard the word just in time, the just in time means as and when we require, that component should be made available. In earlier time we used to keep the items in the storage which are not used even for months and months. Now that time is gone. So that is also a reason that a good supply chain company can maintain the larger supply and keep on supplying to the various hospitals as and when required. So this will save the storage space also for the hospital, and at the same time, as I told you, the independent dedicated supply chain management company will be able to source the equipment, devices and pharmacy at very competitive prices. And so this is going to benefit hospital in both ways, getting economical, and secondly not wasting time on this non-core activity.
If you look at 100 rupees that hospitals earn, about 40-45% goes into manpower, salaries, doctors, like that, and a good 25 to 30% generally gets into consumable space, in which if you can manage it tightly will help you. The balance actually also is sort of fixed kind of a cost, because those goes towards electricity, administrative costs, marketing and all of that. So the margin in which you have to play with actually is in the consumable segment, and if you can do that inventory management tightly, like how Japanese do just in time kind of inventory, it would help you to not only become efficient but also use the money saved to give proper treatment towards the patients. To that extent, this has been not a very well developed kind of a concept in India, where you are not able to leverage the advantage of a good inventory management system. If a third party can come in and do it for you, nothing like it. So I think this is a good kind of a market opportunity for anyone to help hospitals bring in efficiency in their supply chain management, and thereby reduced cost of delivery of healthcare to patients.
The first and foremost thing which affects is a patient from a cost point of view, because you don't get a cost arbitrage in terms of managing effective supply chain when the whole market is fragmented. So it's very important that a consolidation and a digitized platform comes into supply chain, which can help in terms of giving value to the customers, and I think that is one piece. Second, in terms of lead time, logistics, in terms of inventory management, that is also a major concern when it becomes fragmented, because sourcing happens from multiple locations, multiple vendors, and too many layers in terms of people involved in terms of transactions. So all these actually adds to the cost and the lead time for a customer. So end customer will always have a deficiency in terms of cost and also in terms of inventory holding.
On that note, it's time for a short break. We will be right back.
Medikabazaar and CNBC-TV18 present Transforming Healthcare.
Welcome back. You're watching our special series Medikabazaar and CNBC-TV18 present Transforming Healthcare. While the disruptions and crisis caused by the second COVID wave have made evident the acute need for optimizing pharma and healthcare supply chains, it has also accelerated the adoption of tech solutions across the procurement, inventory management, and distribution processes. Let's find out more.
The COVID crisis has nudged the healthcare industry to transform and collaborate with tech-first supply chain companies that can address and act as a one-stop shop for their long-standing challenges, including effective demand management, order management, supplier management, logistics management, and inventory management.
So in India, it's very difficult to paint the entire healthcare system with one brushstroke. You have different kinds of providers. You have large hospitals. You have also very small providers. You have mom and pop nursing homes. And you also have non-institutional care like community care, home care, senior care in India. So as a result of it, there's a large opportunity for supply chain to be a competency center for a large number of those providers who don't have those functions in-house, but who require a very robust and a predictable supply chain and the competencies that come along with. So it's a very, very important question in the way, across the provider spectrum, there's a very large requirement for robust supply chain players to handle that as a competency center.
The organized healthcare sector is today only 20% of the current market size, and almost the tier 2, tier 3 markets contribute almost like 75 to 80% of the overall bed distribution in India at this stage. And which will define the market strategy for all the supply chain players today in market is how we are going to address this large chunk of unorganized or fragmented healthcare system, which can be brought together in a better way. I think what supply chain can do at this stage is there are smaller markets where we can actually aggregate a lot of work, which is not happening, and the reach of supply chain in smaller market is going to define how the next decade of healthcare delivery will happen. So I think the tier 2, tier 3 markets are going to play a major role as things move forward from a supply chain point of view.
Unfortunately, India did not have its own manufacturing, particularly in the medical equipment devices. You keep hearing the name of General Electric, Philips, Siemens. These are the companies which supply most of the equipment related to the radiology and other areas. Now, if you have a supply chain company in India, then it will be much easier for these companies also to place their equipment, devices and components with this supply chain. And then from where, of course, the hospital can source. Because till now what is happening, the hospitals are wasting so much time on import duty, clearances, going here and there to the government sources, and also they do not know how much quantity they require. So the economic order quantity now is a new word which actually we use in the hospital, that how much is the quantity which economically is viable for us. So by doing this one, the foreigners will now find easier to deal with one company.
If you look at healthcare as a market, healthcare probably has the maximum number of utilities. So you not only need the consumables and pharma products that you have, but you also have clothing, you also have furniture items, you also have small items which are to be sold like thermometers, we could see those pulse oximeters and other things which are there. Now those kind of things can be sold very well using the digital platform. And there are many like those. The entire pharmaceutical industry, biomedical instrumentation industry, even insurance products for that matter, is not well developed. Healthcare insurance in India is not a very well developed subject. So there also, we can use examples and from the US and the Europe and see how we can improve the penetration of this product. That is the key. The penetration into hinterland India is where this this market will lie in future, because the government's focus has shifted clearly from the tier 1 and tier 2 towns to tier 3 and even going down into semi-urban rural areas. So this will give you a good fillip. If you are able to reach these markets, the best way to do that is going to be digitally.
Well, it's time for a quick breather, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a bit. Stay tuned.
Medikabazaar and CNBC-TV18 present Transforming Healthcare.
Welcome back. You're watching our special series Medikabazaar and CNBC-TV18 present Transforming Healthcare. For better preparedness, healthcare executives are looking to adopt supply chain best practices from other industries to develop a patient-centered supply chain. And with its innovative suite of tech solutions from procurement and inventory management to last mile distribution, Mumbai-based Medikabazaar is doing just that by helping hospitals shift back their focus to patient care.
Founded in 2014, Mumbai-based Medikabazaar is using the power of technology to act as a trusted and reliable supply chain partner to 50,000 medical establishments and 150,000 independent practitioners, 30 plus fulfillment centers, and partnerships with 14,000 plus suppliers across the country, including ones in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities.
Our entire supply chain infrastructure has been broken in three parts: first mile, middle mile and last mile, what we call as part of the entire supply interface. When we talk of the first mile, obviously it is between sellers and between our fulfillment centers, or between centers where we normally create the order fulfillment capability on our side. The middle mile is where we make sure that there is seemingly good movement around different kind of SKUs we maintain, different kind of quality assurance and quality checks we maintain between various fulfillment centers, various distribution centers. And last mile is obviously when we look at our customer interface delivery model. So we have around 14,000 plus sellers who act as our first mile of engagement. Then we have our distribution centers and fulfillment centers which act as part of our middle mile engagement. And we have a route of MBGO riders which act as our third or the last mile engagement with our customer groups.
Medikabazaar's VPO or Value Procurement Optimizer acts as a one-stop solution for hospitals for all their medical supplies using a combination of database decision-making and product optimization, leading to lower costs and improved profitability.
We offer a unique solution to hospitals which is a complete value procurement optimizer solution, which is essentially helping hospitals to cut down on number of vendors or number of supplier interaction. We become one point supply chain contact for them and trying to build more efficiency by offering better range of products, better assortment of products. Obviously the cost advantage is there on our side, and highly increased serviceability, which essentially entails a lower working capital cycle, lower stock holding cost and better turnaround time for inventory management. So all of this as a complete bouquet of services what we offer to hospital has been very effective, and it's being taken over by many hospitals today. We started first of its concept in 2019 in India as a VPO concept. We took one very large hospital and have proven this model very successfully, managing that hospital for about 2.5 years. In the process, we have started signing up many more hospitals on the similar concept, and this is becoming a great enabler for critical activity like non-clinical part of the hospital operations, which is essentially taken care by Medikabazaar.
Medikabazaar's Busy is an intelligent inventory management tool that uses predictive analytics, AI and machine learning that reduces medical case cancellations due to stockouts and saves valuable time and money for healthcare providers.
We use Vizi as our intelligent inventory model, and this has always been our aspiration to build more of data orientation, predictive analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, all of those measures to improve our productivity and also to increase our customer experience. When we talk about Vizi as a platform, obviously Vizi takes care of the entire inventory management within hospitals, within our customer groups. The same is replicated back in our own systems as well. We are using predictive modeling, we are using predictive tools in order to maintain the inventory what we would want to supply to our customers, whether that inventory is in the form of seller managed inventory or our own managed inventory, but we are able to create the best optimum solution for our inventory management in a way so that we do not run out of critical stocks in the place.
Going forward, the company aims to strengthen its medical logistics arm, MBGO, with a budget-friendly, super-fast, end-to-end, last-mile delivery model.
As we all know that, the world is gradually moving from e-commerce to quick commerce model, and customers do want to see delivery time being reduced. and we are also differentiating ourselves with such quick commerce delivery models, and that's where our last mile makes a lot of differentiation. We are trying to evolve on that and trying to invest in that last mile capability to make sure that customer groups are well covered with that capability, and we are trying to address that with our structured MBGO riders network, and this is what we will be investing going forward in the future in order to look at more capability in building that last mile delivery capability, and also looking at the turnaround time reduction for the customers.
With that, it's time to wrap up this episode of Medikabazaar and CNBC TV18 present Transforming Healthcare. From all of us here at CNBC TV18, goodbye and many thanks for watching.
Medikabazaar and CNBC TV18 present Transforming Healthcare. Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.